Hello, hello. Good morning, all. Good morning, good morning. I'm going to turn one more light on, get a little bit more light, put some more light on the subject, as my mom used to say. So, let me know if you're here. I'm Jennifer Eubank. It's Friday, it's that time again. We're here every weekday, 10 to 10:30, and Alex is here on Sundays with meditation from 10 to 10:30. We could all use some meditation these days. But we can also use some flow, some movement. And I want to continue my series this morning with some flow work, and we'll do all of it on the floor today. So you may want to have a blanket for some comfort to sit on at some point, or maybe have the blanket across the mat for some warmth. And you might also definitely get a block. Have a block. And we'll get started in just a moment. I can hear the 10 o'clock bells. I wonder if you can as well. The chimes. It's getting more and more quiet these days as we get ready for the holidays. Actually, it's getting, and it's funny because usually it gets a little more bustly, but I feel things are kind of settling. Maybe that's just my experience. Maybe you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, getting ready for the holidays. Maybe you've just finished up your Hanukkah season. Happy Hanukkah to those of you who practice that, and Merry Christmas. By the way, speaking of Christmas, I'm going to be here on Christmas Day, next Friday. We decided to go ahead and have one more session in December for the YouTube spot. I didn't say that very well. Delete that. So I will be here Christmas morning for a little Christmas cheer. So if you want to do a little bit of flow right before you open your stockings or have your waffles, join me, and we'll get a little ho 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 flow on. That sounds like a title in the works. I don't think anybody is here yet. I haven't heard anybody or seen anybody type in, and that's okay. Maybe you're here and you haven't typed in. Maybe you'll be here later. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I have a nice little flow, down on the floor flow today. It involves a block and possibly a blanket. I am going to start right away with my blanket, and we'll go ahead and lie on the floor. Lie on your mat. Bend your knees, feet on the floor. And if you're wearing socks, take those socks off. She says as she takes off her socks, somewhat reluctantly, because it's chilly and there's always that, oh, I don't want to take them off, but I tell you, they warm up pretty quickly with the work that's involved. Okay, so I have a blanket under my hips, my back, and my head, and my whole torso from hips to head is evenly cushioned with that blanket. And my feet are actually on the mat because I need some traction. I want to start this morning with a bridge flow. So we're in bridge prep position. And one thing that's bothering me, and I'm going to get up and fix it, I need to move my blanket over just a hair because my arms were uneven. And one was on the mat and one was on the blanket. And you want to avoid that in yoga. You really want to find that balance. Okay, so now I've got that balance. Make sure your feet are under your knees. So if they're in front, that destabilizes this move. It destabilizes the knees and also puts those knees in danger of injury and wear and tear. So bridge flow starts like this. Feet under the knees, knees and feet evenly spaced. Belly is drawn and heart is lifted, arms by the sides. And I bring the arms overhead and then bring them back down. And then I lift the hips and pelvis up and I come back down. And then I do both. And as I come down, I bring my arms out to the sides and then I do a twist on one side and a twist on the other side. And then I come back and I start all over again. So arms overhead, hips up, both up. Arms come out to the side as they go down. I do a twist from side to side. And then I start again. Arms, hips, both. Arms out to the side to get ready for that twist to either side. They come back, get ready to go overhead. Think about lifting your torso up. Before I caught myself saying hips. That's old cue, Jenny. I try to say lift the whole torso up. So there's less burden on the knees and the ankles, and the whole body participates. I haven't said anything about the breath yet. And by the way, if you want to add head twisting in the twist part, you can do that. Let's add the breath. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale them back. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale both. Exhale down, arms out to side, and then finish up with your twists. Find your breath on that and start the movement again. And you can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can stay up in each element for a couple of breaths. Feel free to do that. You may skip an element or two. Add to it. Change the breath. Maybe you like to exhale as you lift. You can be a rebel. Rebel in the yoga room. And just notice, is this movement loosening things up in the hips, the shoulders, the breath, the mind? Are you starting to feel a little bit more playful? Maybe you were kind of cranky with you when you started. I don't know. Has anything changed for you? Let's do just a couple more. We'll do 2 more rounds. The last round, let's exhale out with the mouth. I'm doing one more of just the bridge part. Real quiet, barely even lifted up on that last one. Really slowed it down. And stop when you are ready. Finish up when you're ready. Come back to the center and stay here with the knees bent, feet on the floor. And hang out here for just a few breaths. Nice long inhales and nice long exhales. Notice how you feel. Notice if your connection to the earth has changed, to your surroundings, to your inner self. And speaking of inner self, draw that belly in before you pick up one knee at a time and take hold of them. And see if you can draw the legs and the thighs a little bit closer to the belly. And stay here for a few breaths. Apanasana, wind relief pose. Let's do some belly breath here. Really good for digestion. Good for helping us get through these holiday times. So as you inhale, feel the belly rise, and as you exhale, feel it soften. Take a few rounds of that and find that action in you. And as you find it, see if you can intensify it and let the belly rise even higher with each breath. And maybe you can even feel it pressing up against the legs. And as you do that, can you feel the back pressing up against the floor? So not only is this good for digestion, it's really good for lower back pain. So if you've been doing a lot of wrapping presents and decorating and cleaning and cooking and you have some backache, you might want to lie on the floor and do this for a few breaths. Really nice idea, I think. And so when you're ready, we can back off that belly breath and come back to just regular breath. And then as you're ready, bring one foot down at a time. And then grab your block. And let's set up for supported bridge. Stay in this bridge position and notice I'm on the blanket, my bum is on the blanket, and when I lift up, I'm going to move my blanket up a little bit so that my block is on the mat, because I want it to be nice and stable. So I lift up and then I just roll that blanket up just enough so the block is snug on the floor right under my sacrum. That's the widest part of your spine in between your hips. And you set that spot, that bum, that sacrum on that block. And so you don't have to have the blanket if you don't want to. But I'm having some upper back issues and I needed a little bit of extra cushion here. And that's a nice way to support your supported shoulder, which is what we're about to do. We're starting for just a few moments in this supported bridge, and we'll lift up into our supported shoulder, and then we'll do a sequence in our supported shoulder. So that's why I suggested that blanket. And really nice for the shoulders there. And make sure your block is good and sturdy and it's right under that sacrum. Again, if it's in between, the sacrum is in between the hips. So if the block is too low, then you'll feel an unnatural curve in your back. And if it's too high, it'll feel uncomfortable in the back. So when you're ready, draw in the belly and pick up the knees, the feet, one at a time. And maybe stay here for a couple of breaths. And keep that belly drawn in as you lift and straighten, extend one leg. Let's say it 3 times. Jenny, 3 times. Okay, so now we're in our supported shoulder. And I can feel that my feet are a little too close. So what I'm going to do, too close to my head, to go back that way. I want them to go more the other way to protect my joints in my lower back. So I draw the belly in and I slightly tilt my pelvis, and that brings my sacrum in much more emphatic contact with that block. I can really feel my sacrum as I do that, and that keeps my hips at a nice 90-degree angle. So this is supported shoulder, and we'll stay here for a few breaths. And this can be very, very relaxing, very calming, and also very good for the back. It's a lot like legs up the wall. So if you've done legs up the wall, we're pretty much doing legs up the wall, except we've got a little height to our hips and we don't have that wall to support us. But the block is there to support us. And the muscular system is there to support us. So keep the belly drawn in and keep your chest active. Keep the heart lifted, and you'll feel the muscles in the chest expanding and engaging to help you keep those legs up. And you can also create a little bit more oomph in the back of the body and start to turn on those muscles. You can squeeze the ribs with the muscles inside the ribs. You can squeeze your glute muscles in the bum, your quadriceps, in your upper thighs, even the calf muscles. You can flex your feet so the toes are pointing to the wall behind you, and that strengthens those legs. And all of that can make sure that the entire body is working to hold you up here. And you might find you can stay up here a little bit longer. And I reviewed all those ideas because I want to start the movement now. And we want to keep those ideas intact as we add the movement. But notice as you start to move, you'll start to shift about. But just try to keep your body good and strong and present and part of the movement here. So pay attention to what's going on. And as you're ready, bring your feet and knees wide and then bring them back together again. And you might want to put your hands around the block as you bring one leg down out in front of you and then bring it back up. And then take the other one down. And it doesn't have to come all the way down. This one is sore for me, so I'm only going to bring it to about a 60-degree angle that first time. And then you bring it back up. And then bring your feet behind you, kind of in a pseudo plow. And having the hands on the blocks is going to help you with that. And then you bring the legs back to the center. And then you start again. So you go wide. You come back to center, you bring one leg down, and you come back up, and other one, and then bring them to the back, and back up. Inhale with one movement, exhale with another. Find your rhythm, find your range of motion, find your pace. And notice, do you want to start adding things? I'm going to go wide in my plow. There's something you can add in. And you can always add your favorite element and do it in between each element. And I just forgot one as I was talking. So no big deal. Just keep going. Go with the flow. What does your body want? Inhale with one motion, exhale with another. Find your rhythm, find your pace. And I just switched around a couple of moves. Is it getting easier? Is it getting more difficult? Don't forget that foot flexing action. That can really help you bring those legs down and up and even apart. And perhaps as you go into your kind of pseudo plow, I'm calling it. It's not quite a plow because we don't really, I think it would break the rhythm if we took it all the way to the very back. So that's why I kept it in kind of a pseudo plow. Maybe reverse the leg direction. I just decided to do that. That was kind of weird. Maybe bend your knees and do a round with bent knees. That's something to think about. Can't really do that. Well, you can do it a little bit with your pseudo plow. You can kind of bring the bum up. Extend back up, and I'm going to do one more. One more round. I like going wide with the feet back there. I think I'm going to incorporate that. I'm going to go wide one more time, and I'm going to do one more scissor kick. That's how I'm going to finish up my sequence. And I'll stay here for a few breaths and reorganize things and check in with my alignment and my supported shoulder self. How does it feel? Has it changed at all? Couple breaths here. And then when you're ready, draw the belly in before you bring the knees down, and keep it drawn in before you bring one foot down at a time. And that'll keep that back in check. And stay here for just a couple of breaths. Find your supported bridge again. Put your hands on your belly, and let's do 5 belly breaths in our supported bridge. So as you inhale, feel the belly rise, and as you exhale, feel it soften back down towards the body. And with each breath, see if you can take a little bit more time with each inhale so that you can grow the belly a little bit more and feel what's going on in the back with your relation to the block. Maybe you can feel the sacrum a little bit more as you do this belly breath, which was my goal, to help you really tap into your sacrum. Can you feel it pressing against the block? I've done more than 5 belly breaths. I'm going to start saying 10 belly breaths because I like them so much. I have so much to say about them. Really nice way for you to get in touch with the sacred bone, your sacrum. So let's go ahead and lift up. Press into the floor with those foundation points, your feet, your head, your shoulders, your upper back, and then bring your bum back down. And then roll to one side and stay here for a breath or two. And then push up. And we have just the amount of time that we need for our last flow, which is a seated flow. And I'm sure none of this is new to you. Maybe the sequencing, maybe the breath work, or maybe some of the cues were new for you, but these are pretty standard flows that we're doing. Pretty standard movements to get your tension out, especially in those hips. We hold so much in our hips. This next one is really good for that. And it's basically hip rolls and rainbows and a combination of those two. So find a good seated pose. I'm on a blanket to give my hips that height, to give me a little bit more freedom and stability. Stability and freedom, if you want to say it concurrently. Anyway, so put the hands on the knees and draw the belly in and lift your heart, and find a good strong torso and a good strong bottom half. And then as you're ready, bring your torso to the right, to the front, to the left, to the back. And press into the legs, press into the floor, press the hands into the legs as you go right, front, left, back. And we're making a circular pattern here, circular shape, kind of like a corkscrew going round and round. Notice as you go round and round, is the shape changing? Is it freeing up? And add some breath with it. Nice long inhales and nice long exhales. And feel free to let an exhale out with the mouth every now and then. Very liberating. As you let go of that breath, you let go of angst, you let go of tension, maybe some anger in the mind. Let's make the circles a little smaller and then find a pause point and switch directions, and we'll do about the same amount on this side. And notice the hips getting a little bit freer. Just feel your experience. Really pay attention to your experience. Let's do a few more of those let go breaths. Those made me slow my circles down. Let's come back to the center at some point. Make your way back to the middle and find a good pause point. Bring the hands out to the sides and inhale them up overhead and exhale the right hand down. Inhale the left arm up, exhale, curve over, press into the floor with the right hand as you curve over. Inhale back up. Exhale as you bring the left hand down, press it into the floor, curve to the other side. So really keep that foundation intact as you go from side to side. Feel your sits bones and feel the hand that lands on the floor. And notice how that protects your body and it keeps your movement organized. And it also allows you to form the rainbow and not collapse into the rainbow. And that's very important when we start combining these moves. So we'll combine our rainbows with our circles. So next time you find a rainbow and that hand comes over, find a circle, go to the other side. Make a rainbow, make a half circle, come back and find your rainbow. And keep going. Inhaling with one motion and exhaling with another. Keep the body strong on the bottom. Keep those sits bones rooted. And as the hand lands on the floor, whether it's the left or the right, keep it nice and prominent. And at some point, switch directions. And it might take you a bit to find your rhythm. But it's a nice way to combine these two movements. It's a really nice flow. And as you really pay attention to what's going on in this flow, it might help you slow it down. It might help you take bigger breaths. Not really take bigger breaths, but take more time with the breaths you do take. I'm going to do one more on this side. And then we'll do one more round of rainbows. And I'll meet back in the middle. And take a couple of quiet moments to notice how I feel. I'm careful to draw the belly in and lift my heart and relax my shoulders. I'm careful to keep my legs strong but my knees soft and my hips soft. A little easier to keep the knees soft than the hips. I'm still kind of wrapping my mind around how do you soften your hips. A little more elusive for me. So let's Take a couple more breaths as you sit here, nice and tall. Find a little balance to the physique of your body, not just to the sitting here and keeping up, but the balance between left and right, front and back. Find some balance in your breath. Take your hands and raise them, and take your thumb and your ring finger on your left hand, and take your thumb and your middle finger on your right hand and touch those. And look at your hands and notice that they're different, but they're the same. Different fingers are bent, but you've got one finger straight, one bent, two fingers straight on both hands. And figure out where you want to hold that. So as you do that, that might make you kind of sit like this. You want to get comfortable, so bring those hands down, arms by the sides, belly drawn, heart lifted as you hold this mudra. And you can even put the hands down on the lap if you like, either up or down. And maybe close the eyes. It's called, I forget the name of this one. But it's meant to calm the nervous system. It's a nice little trick there. You're imbalanced, but you're balanced at the same time. Are you able to maintain that equanimity, that balance, that even keelness in your emotions, your thoughts, your words, your behavior over the holiday season? It might be easier if you lift your heart and actually breathe into your heart. Breathe love and lift into your heart as you hold these balanced, imbalanced hands. How does it make you feel? What does it stir up for you? And as you're ready, glide the eyes open. And we'll bring our hands to heart center. May you be safe, may you be happy, and may you be healthy. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice today. And thank you for coming here each week, and thank you for going back and referring to these videos in our archive. Not just mine, but my colleagues. We have so many wonderful teachers at this studio, and it's been a very, very challenging year. And I just want to say thank you to Sun and Moon, and thank you to all the teachers and our clients, our friends, our family, to Zoom, to technology. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. And I make it sound like this is my last one. It's not. I'll be here again next week, next Friday, but that will be my last time, because I will be doing something a little different on Fridays in the new year. So I will need to step aside and take my commitments elsewhere. So thank you so very much. Have a great holiday season, and please join me next Friday, 10 to 10:30. We'll have a ho 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 flow. Ho 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 flow. I'm gonna call it that too. And I'm gonna dress up like a hooker. Oh, I can say that because I'm short. Okay, people, love you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello. Press the button when you want to stop.